it's just endless. But with this, I normally cut straight off my own hides for this, but this particular customer wanted something really robust. Look how thick that is. This is buffalo hide, premium buffalo hide. So I'd say that's, oh blimey, it's just under 6mm, and in places I'll guarantee you it will be 7. Yeah, it's cracking stuff. This'll, and tough is just an understatement. It's supple. It's great for belts really. And what I got him for that is sorry guys, let's just get these sorted so I can show you. For this particular one, I've got a real nice solid stainless steel. You know, I don't mess about with these, with the hardware really. With you know, these belts and stuff, they're not cheap. And if somebody's paying good money, you don't scrimp on these things. So this is solid stainless. Look lovely on this, and this is an extra long one. This is 62 inch, and that was another reason why, you know, because I buy a lot of shoulders, it's hard to get that size as well. To be able to do that belt, I would have had to have tried to find, which would have been difficult. I'd have had to have gone for a 14, and if I could have got it, which is hard, a 15 square foot shoulders at 5mm thick, which wouldn't have been cheap to buy the old hide to make one belt. It just doesn't, you know, it doesn't make any sense. A lot of my sheaths that I would have made out of that then would have been too thick really to work with. You know, 6mm. It's just too much. So I would have had to have bought a whole hide in just for one belt. You're talking for that, I don't know, maybe. You got to be looking at 90 quid really, you know, just to make the one belt. And then I'm not saying that I wouldn't be able to use a lot of it, but because it would have been that thick, I'd have got, you know, I'd have been limited really. So I outsource this, and I do sometimes with the belts. I mean, the other two that I've got to do, they'll come straight off the hide, no problem. They're 4.5mm, and they're still long, but I can just do them. But this one, being so long as it is, and 5mm thick, I outsource this one. For the other 3 I've got, or 2, I can't remember. I have to have a look at the order book. It's another one, but this is a patinaed. It's a twin, but again, this is solid stainless, but it's been antiqued and patinaed. Beautiful, real pleased with this one. I got this particular one from Tandy. So anybody, this is a great buckle. They're not cheap. I think they're about 8 quid. So it's not a cheap buckle by any stretch. Whereas if you bought like the, well, I very rarely use anything. It's either stainless or brass. But I have got a couple. Something like this. If you buy something like, no, there's nothing wrong with these nickel. Don't get me wrong. Is this nickel? Nickel on copper, I think. I can just see something. These are not too bad, but these are a couple of quid, and they're robust and they're great. People who've got nickel allergies, you have to be careful. So something to ask. And they're great, you know. Nothing wrong with these, but I think when people are paying, you know, just that bit more for an hand sewn top quality, you know, belt, then you really need to be looking at decent hardware for it as well. So you know, that's just my thought process. And you know, the hardware I use with my leather goods, always try my best to buy the best I can of everything I can. It's the same with the knives really. You know, I'm just that way. I'm not a firm believer on scrimping with certain things. You know, if you're going to make something, you know, make it a good one. Yeah, so that's this will be nice when it's done. I'll try and bring you along for one of these belts at least. So if anybody wants to make their own belt, then I can't get the words out today. I can help then. I can help them with you being able to make your own belt. Anyway, the thing for this is building. Deep breath, sleep. This is building a leatherman wave pouch. He wanted this. This is the customer who had the little case I designed for his Enzo. Folding knife. I don't really remember. And he loved that so much. And he obviously loved the leather. Same leather I made the bag with. There's only a little bit left of this now. So when this is gone, it's gone. I doubt if I'll be able to get it again. So anyway, not this particular colour and stuff. You know, hides are a funny thing, especially if it's pre-dyed. You know, to get exactly the same one time and time again, unless you go for chrome tanned or, you know, something like that, it's very difficult. They'll all be a bit different, obviously, with your range marks and your folds. And I love this, the way when it bends it changes colour. You can see that. As it bends, it lightens up and takes on its own a lighter shade. It's great. Anyway, so yeah, I'll try and bring you along for this one. Simple-ish little pouch. It's be box stitched. That's what he's asked for. He sent me a little pic. I've done a few of these anyway, like this, of roughly what he wanted of this style. So it will be like this, guys. And then I'm going to figure out in a minute and work out the dimensions for the. Actually, I can move that up just a tad. The insides, and then they'll be sewn in, box stitched in rather than stacked. The thing with stacking up, you know, I could just put welt. It adds an awful lot of weight for a start. I mean, if the person wants that type of look, fine, but to me a box stitch section is much prettier anyway than a leather stack section. It takes an awful lot of weight and it's a bit overkill. They can shift as well, the welts inside. Obviously they're stacked on each other. It's not as robust as if you insert a piece and box stitch it in my opinion. But anyway, and then he's got to have a little belt loop putting on. No snaps, no nothing. I'm a bit funny about that stuff, you know, with them coming undone. And you know, if it's asked for, I'll do it, but I'd rather it be sewn in. It's a lot more secure. Okay, as this bloke again, you know, I know what he'll be doing with it. He's not just walking about town with this. He'll be out in the field doing what they do, you know, through shrub and bush, and you know, so he just needs to be that little bit more secure. Also, guys, if you do use poppers and you know your customers are from the Canada, especially if they're from Alaska, you really want to be getting stainless steel press studs, because our normal average press studs just won't cut it out there. They'll rust up and they'll fail on your customer. You need to source stainless steel press studs. So that's another thing to ask, is, you know, where your customer's from and what's his environment like. I mean, on the opposite side, if he's in somewhere like Florida or somewhere where it's real humid, it's even worse because of the rusting of the poppers. I'd go for maybe, if you can't get them, you can get them, maybe a brass then, solid brass. But even they could go a bit green and stuff, but it's better than just the nickel. Because they do give and they do rust out and they do play up. Not so much in this country, you know, but in the more extreme environments, they will fail. I mean, they'll all fail eventually, but these will fail a lot quicker there, you know. And this is other questions you should be asking. So I'll put this up as the wave pouch, but there's a few tips and you know, on getting your hardware and why you choose certain hardware. So okay, So what I'm going to do now is, I'll just switch you off a minute. I'm going to figure out these dimensions and look at getting the sides inserted in, and we'll look at sewing this lot up then. I'm just going to put some marks on around and stuff like that, and give you a few pointers when doing this stuff where it ain't that easy. It might look easy. I know one thing I do is I maybe take these things for granted because I'm so used to doing them, but I know I've just sat here thinking, and then I remember when I first tried, you know, the things I take for granted now, you know, are not that easy. So when you're doing this, all I've done basically is I took some measurements. I took 20mm. This was just over, so I've got enough clearance to get it in and out. Right, so I've took the measurement to the wave. I've took my little clip off, and so it's just a wave, just, you know, and because I bought a few of these things like the wave and stuff, you know, so that customers don't have to keep sending me theirs. You know, if I get more than 5 or 6 orders for a specific product, or I get, you know, 5 or 6 orders of a particular knife, a lot of the times I'll buy that knife and put it to one side, and then for my American customers, it saves them having to send it over, you know, over here, and then me get it back with royal fail. And you know, it's a lot easier as well. If I, you know, but certain, you know, obviously custom build knives I can't do it. I need the knife. It's very important. But your F1s, A1s, your full Nivens, your lot of the Bart Rivers, you know, stuff like that. They're pretty generic, and you know, they're pretty the same really. They ain't far off. So you can your Beckers, stuff like that. You know, I have sent to, you know, a lot of them I have sent to me. What I'm saying is, if I get a lot of one item all the time, like I've got a lot with the Grantsford Brookses, so I bought them all because, you know, I got so many orders for axe sheaths, and in the end, you know, it's a heavy item for somebody to post out. It's a heavy item for me to post back. So it works out better for both parties. If I've already got the axes, I can just make the sheath, send it off, we're both happy. Anyway, so I've measured that out. All I've done is got a bit of card, measured it out. Now, when you're doing this stitch in the edge, this box stitch, when you're doing these edges like this, what's really, really important is you get the right, this is where people will go wrong and it'll drive them insane. You've got to get the right, oh, what's it called, man? Radius. For the leather to wrap round. If it's too acute, when you come you'll have a gap at the bottom. If it's too obtuse, you know, you've got to sort of figure out what works best, and this is where the cardboard comes in with a bit of trial and error. I just know now what sort of shape will work and what won't. You want it rounded on the bottom. If you just did a square on the bottom, you can do that, but if you did sort of like and then round, when you come to wrap the leather round it, it just won't be right. And also, the other tip with this I can give you is make sure these are exactly the same. What I'll do, these are not accurate enough for me now. It's just a rough, so I can see roughly where I'm going and what I'm doing, so I can get everything to line up perfectly when I've done it. But what I'll do in a minute is I'll go to card, normal card, like like this card, you know, your normal, what is it, it's, there's a weight normally with these, so many ply, or I forgot what they call it now, or there's a weight of card anyway, so, you know, the thicker there's a different name and the thinner. This is okay, it's just about right, but you want it thick enough so your pencil don't keep, you know. So what I'll do then is I'll draw these back out, now I'm happy, on this card. I'll take my thing for my radius. I have lots of different ones of these for all different shapes and sizes and French curves, and you know, it just really helps. And I'll make sure this card's cut out and that these two are absolutely mirrored. That what I was getting at was, if they're not, and this one's just a little bit longer, say like that. When you come to wrap that leather round here and you try and marry, you'll get, see if I can exaggerate it, you'll get a little bit sticking up like that. Your holes won't line up properly, then you'll be fighting with it, then it'll be crooked. You know, these things I take for granted, but you know, if you don't get it right, something so simple as this little pouch could drive you insane. You know, with constantly fiddling, messing, tearing it off, recontacted these in it, you know, trying to, you know, all forcing your all in to find the holes because they're not marrying. And you know, also, like you will have to backstitch round here if you go all the way around. A lot of the times with these, I'll just come down to it. There's no need to go around the bottom because it's not going to come away because it's already sewed to here. Whether I go all the way around today, I don't know, I'll decide when I get there. But these two sides have to be mirrored for this to work and stay straight. These two sides must be exactly the same. The radius is on the bottom and the right length and the right width as well, obviously, because one side will be out and the other will be a little bit thinner. So you want these two exactly the same and perfect, and then this little pouch will be, you know, it will be right then when you come to fold it over and put it in. Everything will be equal. Everything will line up, and when you come to sew it up and that, you'll be real thankful you took the time to get these right. I hope this helps a little bit, guys. I try my best to, you know, sometimes I might crack on and forget, but then it'll come to me like, oh, you know, maybe this will help, or I'll just try and think all the time, you know, what can help, and maybe improve other people's leather work, or help them out with a project that they've got that they're getting a bit stuck with, or okay. Right guys, so now Lee, so this is where we're at with this. We've gone from this piece of cardboard, sort of, you know, because I'm missing a few, so I got cold coming, I'm missing a few steps out. Basically I measured the leatherman, make sure that I've got enough 4mm either side for the clearance for the side panels. So I measure the leatherman across, give myself 4mm this side, 4mm that side, to accommodate the edges inside, because obviously they fit inside the, you know, inside. So we've gone from that, which is a one piece, to cutting it out. Okay, there's your one piece from the cardboard to that. So you help if you decide to have a crack. I've pricked the holes through, straight through with the pricking iron. I've then taken the pieces of cardboard. I then transferred them, like I said I was going to do, to a thinner piece of cardboard so I could cut it out a lot neater. I used my round holes in my stencil to figure out the curvature and the radius that I needed for this to accommodate it around the edge, so it weren't going to hang up or be off skew or whatever. I've then done the holes through the side for your box stitch. I've then added an antique solid brass Sam Brown as requested by the customer. Well, Sam Brown, but I've added an antique one to this. It's just going to look nicer. It's got a little bit bigger head as well that I chose on this particular one. Silver probably would have looked nice, but it'll look lovely with this. I've then taken my French skive and skived the hole around to accommodate the Sam Brown. Now I'm going to put, as I've always done with my leather work, a piece over that which will just blend in as one to cover up the hardware, so when he's putting his wave in and out it doesn't mark it. Super important. So that's where we're at. We're now Now I'm going to contact adhesive this, then I'll leave it. I'll go back onto that other sheath for a bit, do a bit of burnishing and that. Had a little bit of time to settle now, but I won't do much more. I won't glue that up or nothing. I'll never do that till next day. A project of this size and of this calibre, I suppose, a big sheath like this, I will never do this in the same day, as in once I've dyed something like that, I will leave that dye. I will then brush all that pigment off the next day from the oil dye, and then I will contact adhesive. So it's always better to burnish next day, I've personally found too. If you try and burnish the same day when you've dyed it, it's still very supple, it doesn't seem to burnish as good. If you leave it overnight and then you come back to burnish it next day, you'll find you'll get a much better burnish, and it'll also be easier and quicker to do. For some reason, I can't answer why that is. I just know through experience that's how it is. I hope that makes sense. I can't tell you why it's better next day. I don't understand why it is, but it you know, it is. It just is, and that's just through, you know, experience of working with leather for a long time. Right, so whereas this one today, I can do the edges because it's pre-dyed and I can burnish it out today, which I'll do in a minute. But there's two ways of going around this as well. You can either bring your stitching right in much more, and you can have it just sitting inside, so you've got like that. You can have it just inside, so you've got like a bit of a gap, and then you can like round all that out and have it just sit inside, or you can butt it right up to the edge. It all depends how I feel on the day and how I want it to look. Today I've gone right up close to the edge. Last time I brought it in and I rounded all the edge over. It's just, this is where you get into aesthetics and how you want your the item to look, the overall look. So for this one I want it crisper for the edges. So, right, so yeah, and then obviously you don't want this right up to there, because then when it comes to open it, how's he going to get it bloody out? You need enough room for thumb and forefinger to be able to grip this and take it out. Okay. Oh, excuse me. The other thing I've got to do, and I've just forgot about it, it's a good job I'm running away with myself, I've got to do the belt loop for the back. And that's something else. I'll do that in a minute. That'll be sewn in first, then these will be contact adhesive to the sides. We'll sew it up. I'll clean it all with saddle soap. I'll buff it out with some conditioner, and I'll probably add a bit of wax, and I'll buff that out. It finishes on and I'm done. That's another one out the door. And then I'll carry on with that big sheath. I'll just bring you along for this little quick bit. You know, sometimes I cut out the cuttings because I need to concentrate. I use, I don't even know what this is called, I've had it a long time. It's great for this type of stuff because I can remove it after, you know, as long as I don't go too mad with it. And it's absolutely ideal for marking your leather. It's the only way I can describe it, it's like it comes out like a silver pen. I can't even remember where I picked it up. I think it's what they use for what tailors, people who make suits and stuff, use when they're marking out their patterns for that stuff. I think that's what it's used for. I just can't remember what it is. All I do know, lads and ladies, it needs like a silver ink on the leather. This needs sharpening. If you've noticed, I'm using the other side of the ruler as well, the side that gives you a real good square edge. You know, I don't want these edges all higgledy-piggledy. I'm just going to go to the scalpel a minute. I'll set this channel in. The blade needs changing, this and all. That's better, it's a lot crisper. See, now you have a perfect right angle. Hope you can see that. Yeah, I'll show you. You have, if you'll focus for me, when it's cut, if you use that properly, you see, perfectly square edges. Now for box stitching, this is something that's extremely important. Obviously if your edges are off like that, you know, at an angle and stuff, and you come to put them two pieces together to form your right angle to go through for your box stitch, it's never going to work. So for box stitching, that's another tip I can give you. It's paramount to have your edges as square as possible. And by using that ruler that I use, it's not, you know, there is an art to using it, because, you know, it's still down to you to keep that blade straight, but it definitely helps having that thicker edge on that back end than having this little thin edge here, where you can, you know, as you're coming along, you'll favour, what you'll tend to find is when you cut a lot of leather all the time, you can either counteract it when you start noticing you're doing it, but you'll always favour one side or the other when you're cutting. Whereas that, it just helps guide it, and it is very important with the box stitch to have things square, obviously, because the two pieces have to butt up together. You know, that's, them pieces have to be like that. You know, and obviously if you've cut it at an angle, when you come to put that piece up, that's what's going to happen. You'll come to put it up and it'll be all wiggly, and, well, I don't know whether you get it right in the end, but right, let me just have a quick check at the back of this, and okay, right, roughly where we want this to start from, be about there, and then we'll go to about there, and I'll mark, give myself more than I need, always. Then what I'll do then is I'll take, this is another item I'd be lost without, take my square, make sure everything's squared up. I now know that I've got a perfect right angle. Now you could either use the, it's not so paramount here for that to be square, but this does tend to do it, mind you, with practice. It just takes a bit of practice to know that it's just practice. It's still not as perfect as when you do it with a ruler and practice with that ruler. I mean, you can get them real, you know, you can use the actual square on it and test it. It was a big help to me then, to be honest. Okay, so this is another little part of the equation. Okay, and go back again. We'll want it like that. And then find my centre, and then I roughly want that chopping off about there. Then what I'll do is I'll get my, have a look at this. Okay. See, ideally, when you are doing these as well, rather than just cutting them out like I have done, you know, just neatly, and go round and round and round, so that they, you know, as best you can get them. You get a punch for these, and you punch, you know, you use your strap end punch, and that'll be even neater then. He's finding one for this, you know. I don't always use this size. This is, you know, just for this wave sheath. To go and spend £50 on a new punch just for this particular size, when I might not do a wave sheath again like this, you know, it's just as easy to cut it out. But if I was making these all the time, or you decided to go and, you know, if you making a particular leather item all the time, like, you know, I do make a lot of belts, so, you know, and I do use a lot of straps of 1 inch, you know, and I do use a lot of straps of 1.5 inch. So, you know, and I do use the pointy ones a lot. But what I'm saying is, if you're making leather, a leather item, and you're doing a lot of it, it's worth investing then into a punch, to punch these areas out. You'll have a lot more consistency. It'll be a lot neater, and your project will be a lot more professional. So if you're making something constantly, look at having a punch made to that dimension, and that'll definitely help you out too. Okay, so let's use this punch a minute. My dogs are going nuts. It means they're indoors is back. Just oversized that, just slightly. He's going to nick the edges, I think. Get out. Okay, oh nice, perfect. Oh, just. Nearly. There we go. Not happy with that, so I'm going to go again and just take that edge off there. There we go. I moved my hand. That's much better now. Okay. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll have that like that. We'll have that like that. Still not happy with the way that's come out. I don't know whether I'm going to use that end like that, or whether I'll just I might try something a little bit different. This might look a little bit better. What? Oh, sorry, it's guys. My daughter. Sorry, guys. It's my the big and the daughter. She come back from school, and bless her, I couldn't get in. Dad. Anyway, I changed. I weren't happy with the round shape. I just I don't know. Sometimes things look right to me, and sometimes things don't. And I just weren't happy. Now I'm happy. That just looks. It just looks better to me, you know, than the round shape. So the round on the front, yes. Round on the back, for me, no. It just didn't look right. Sometimes I'll do that, or sometimes I'll go to a point, or sometimes I'll just change it completely, and I'll have a look and I'll think. Sometimes in my mind it'll think maybe all right until my eyes look at it, you know, and then nah. Okay, that's better. It's more streamlined. It's just more in keeping, to me anyway. So yeah. So the loop's done. It's time to wrap up. The missus is at my mum's, and she's Aunt Marvin, so I'm going to bugger off, and we'll make sure that she has something to eat. Bless her. And I shall reconvene with this tomorrow. I'll try and get this up as part 1 and hints and tips. Okay guys, take care. Lee.